All of Washington is now talking about the developments in the Barr investigation and the Sidney Powell filing. One America's Jack Posobiec spoke to the leader of a top conservative group to explain.
We're very excited to bring on to One America News the CEO and founder of American Majority, Ned Ryan. Ned, thank you so much for coming on with us.
Absolutely. Good to be back with you, Jack.
Now, Ned, last night, two very important reports came out. First was a report that Barr and Durham, as we'd all expected, have converted their administrative probe into the origins of the Russia collusion investigation into a criminal investigation. And then at the same time, here comes Sidney Powell in the Flynn case, laying out what is essentially a conspiracy by high-level officials of the National Security Administration, working with both the FBI and the CIA, working to entrap General Flynn.
Yeah, no, Jack, if all of these reports are true, and it's increasingly looking like what we have suspected for months, that Barr and Durham were interested in getting into a criminal investigation. If this is true and they will get to the bottom of this, the fact that we now see that Durham has called grand juries, I think actually, Jack, this didn't happen just in the last few days. I think Durham has probably convened a grand jury weeks and weeks ago. But the amazing part is, you know, the left, the administrative state players, the Democrats, their propagandists in the media tried to cow Bill Barr when he said that he thought there might have been spying that took place months and months ago. They tried to cow him into not pursuing this. Bill Barr is going to pursue this. And I want to remind the viewers of this, Jack. Not only does he have experience and was at the CIA and obviously was AG and has a lot of experience with the DOJ, people forget that Bill Barr was in private corporate practice for years. And you know what he was doing? He was a defense lawyer against government intrusion and abuse. Bill Barr, I am convinced of this, is determined to not only get to the bottom of how this started, who abused their power, but he wants to set things right.
Sidney Powell has introduced into evidence the fact that Lisa Page and Peter Strzok, working together, actually edited and altered the 302 interview of General Flynn to make it appear that he had lied. What does that mean?
The most important thing that we have to focus on, there have to be consequences. I've said this for months. There has to be jail time. All of this is based off trust. And I want the listeners and the viewers to understand this. The law enforcement regime and the surveillance state here in the United States ultimately all come down to one word. It's trust. That trust has been shattered. Our trust in institutions, our trust in the people that actually are inside of those institutions have been shattered. And the only way that you restore trust is for there to be consequences for their actions. And those consequences, jail.
Now, there's also information here that we've long questioned who exactly was it that leaked the highly classified transcript of General Flynn's phone call with the Russian ambassador. In this filing, Sidney Powell is stating that it was James Baker, the general counsel of the FBI, and that the Washington Post ran it at the urging of James Clapper.
Yeah, no, I don't doubt that. I do believe that James Baker was guilty of leaking. I believe that he did some things that he will have to bear the consequences for. But I've talked with some former high-level DOJ officials, Jack, who worked with James Baker back in the day. And they believe that he actually is probably witness number one for Durham and Barr, that he is actually providing evidence against others inside of this entire investigation. Because let's not forget, not only was he general counsel at the FBI, he was also formerly the FISA guy at DOJ. And I believe that he based a lot of what he did in the FISA process off trusting others. I feel that, and again, according to these sources, that he has been used and abused, and he is actually being helpful to Barr and Durham. I think he will have to bear the consequences for some of these actions that he, I believe, is guilty of. At the same time, I think he's being extremely helpful.
Essentially, what you're saying is that Baker has flipped.
I do believe that Baker has flipped based off my sources that have known and worked with Baker for years.
Thank you so much for being on with us today.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.